Welcome to Whole Lot of Wolves, episode 3 of season 4. We're your hosts. I'm Joshua Buckley.
I am Paul LePage.
Once again, joining us from New York City, Mr. Alex Prodakis, our great producer. How's it going, Alex?
It's going well. Nice to see everybody.
Yeah. And Paul, while Fosun may be cutting payroll, we've expanded ours with a brand new permanent signing. Our budget of 0. But still, we are signing people, unlike Fosun, and that is Mr. Baltimore Wolves himself, Danny Paletti, who will be manning the Whole Lot of Wolves social account from here on out. How's it going, Danny?
Going good, and enjoying taking on the new role, though, under dubious circumstances for this first show. And I guess just so people know, everybody else in the Whole Lot of Wolves team has access to the social media accounts, so don't send me your hate DMs because I posted a weird meme.
I was going to say, Alex, do you have any advice? Because I know most of the time you were handling the account.
Well, not, just stay positive, I guess. Don't feel the need to play into the toxicity that exists on Wolves Twitter right now.
Toxicity on Wolves Twitter? No. Hey, speaking of toxicity, it's our favorite curmudgeon, Mr. Andrew Smith from Atlanta. How's it going, Andrew?
I'm very well. Good evening to everyone. Thank you for inviting me back. I'm shocked, but I'm here. Thank you again.
And we brought the positive from Atlanta Wolves as well, and that is our good friend Wolfman Jeff.
How you doing? I'm the Pollyanna.
You may remember him of season 1 fan favorite guest, Wolfman Jeff.
Ooh, flash from the past. I'm here to bump up ratings and to offset Andrew.
I think it's gonna take a lot to offset Andrew today.
It will indeed.
I might be joining him. I might be joining him on some of the comments.
So, guys, let's just get right to it. Home opener. Man, we were all pumped when we saw the starting 11. I was telling people, throw down some money on Wolves plus 275 money line. And even when they were down 1-0 at the half, it still felt like they had something until they didn't. And they lost 4-1 to Brighton. Paul, is this first half, we're still positive, or just overall lack of disappointment?
First off, you can take the positive, I think. And really, it was a spot of brilliance. You got to tip your cap for that goal. It was phenomenal. And you do have those occasionally. And from that point onwards, you always felt there were a little bit of nerves in the back line. They seemed to exploit playing between the lines a lot better than we've been able to muster. And there was always that threat hanging over us. But at least at that point, we didn't cave in and concede. So we were always in the game, and there were chances and had our opportunities. It wasn't like we were continually knocking on the door. I don't think by any stretch you can really say that we dominated the first half, but it was certainly a game, and probably 50-50. They obviously edged it with a goal and everything, but coming out into that second half, I think that's where it all breaks down, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I think we can dig into when it comes to just what went on.
Andrew, what were your thoughts?
Well, what was amazing is I actually lost internet for about 6 to 7 minutes, and I couldn't get the peacock back on. And then all of a sudden my phone was lighting up. Basically, my friends were like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "What's going on?" So I'd looked, and it was 2-0. And then within a matter of 2 or 3 more minutes, it was 3-0. And I just thought, oh dear. Maybe not those words exactly, but I just was actually shocked because I thought my predictions were a 1-1 draw. And for us to get thumped like that, I don't know what happened. No idea.
Wolfman Jeff, I know you're a person straight and narrow. You never cussed, but you had to be tempted to when that fourth goal
It
went
was
in, right?
I said a few gosh darn it's, and no, there was I have to put it in the context of the previous week when we played Man United, and most of the match we were better than Man United, which probably then I came to the realization that's just more of a reflection of just how poor Man United was. But it wasn't as bad throughout the match as it was at that beginning of the second half. There was a little bit more, give and take. I still would think that Brighton had the match through most of it, certainly. And of course, I remember last year, they beat us 6-0. So I was a little a little cautious but I wanted to be optimistic because we played so well the week before, and there were some movements, where they were doing good. I was glad to see Fabio finally start. We paid a lot of money for the kid and want to see the kid do well. And he had some moments. Just obviously, this is a shock. We couldn't finish, but then that second half, we just collapsed defensively. And if you're going to be struggling to find goals, you cannot leak goals. And that just set things in motions. I will say near the end, we started to climb back and we were getting some of the momentum back, but it was too little too late. But at least we were starting to climb back. And if it had ended right after their fourth goal, I was upset anyway, but I think I'd have been furious if that's how it ended. At least we were trying to do some answering, but still it's frustrating. And the thing that I'm most upset, I'm sure you're going to probably have a whole part about this, was that second yellow was completely childish, was completely unwarranted, and really, really hurts us for this match that we should be able to get points from Everton, and one of our key players in our very small side decides he's going to act like a 4-year-old. And so that
Yes, we
probably upset me the most.
We will definitely get into that double yellow there. Paul, who is to blame? I thought Max Kilman probably had his worst game in a Wolves kit. Like, he was just positively awful, which is not good for your captain. Who overall would you blame, though?
It's tricky because the setup of the whole team, and I think as a defensive structure, that's where the blame lies. And you can pick individuals out, but the setup wasn't very good. And for anyone who's watched or played the game at any level, the worst possible time to concede when you're a goal down is right at the start of the second half. So just not being switched on to that whole kick-off and going 2 goals down so quickly after the restart, there's got to be questions asked about how that even happened. It's just it's beyond amateurism that they're allowed to do it.
See, Paul, I thought you were going to be a little bit of voice of reason, because I know where Andrew's going to put the blame, but it sounds like you're agreeing with Andrew here. Andrew, go ahead before we start putting up our dukes here. Why is O'Neill to blame?
Well, we started with a 4-3-3 against Manchester United, and we changed a few things, tweaking. I'm not sure if we went to a 4-3, maybe 2-1. But when I saw the lineup, and I watched another show about one of the Bournemouth people that discussed how O'Neill's always tweaking. He always misses with the lineups, and he tweaks the formations too much. If something works, stay with it. I mean, the 4-3-3 started at Manchester United. I'm not sure if Manchester United is a poor side. I don't know that yet. But maybe the body language of coming out the tunnel. I don't know if anyone has seen that on social media. What was said, what was done, in the locker room to not get these guys motivated. I don't know. Right now, I think we're a club that's a little bit lost our identity. Let's just put it that way at the moment. And there's going to be a lot of problems on Saturday should we lose to Everton, who are a very, very poor side generally. It's going to be whoever loses on Saturday could potentially be the third team going down.
I think that's fair. Wolfman, Jeff, who do you put the blame on?
I mean, you mentioned about Kilman, and both Kilman and Dawson, both really poor performances, but Kilman's the captain.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, there is also there was that lack of focus that's not acceptable. And so that's when you have to look to the coach. I know there's a lot of distractions. I know that the chairman made an appearance, and I'm not sure if that threw people off. Well, at least you got to see what happens when you don't invest in center backs. But it's but I had to pick one person. I'm gonna pick Kilman and Dawson together. I guess Dawson should know better, but Kilman, that's his job to do that, and he failed to do that.
And that's been one of my hesitations with Kilman being named captain, is he's not really the vocal guy, and he seems like somebody that can drop his head a little quicker than somebody like Cody or Neves did. So that was always my concern with making him the captain. I get longevity, position wise, you're placing the 11, but Paul, I almost kind of think maybe Wolves would have been better off with like a Mario Lemina taking over as captain, or even a Dawson who's a little more vocal.
It could just be a measure of the whole team that they talk about a leadership group, but are any of those individuals that captain material that Neves or Cody used to be? And none of them are really. Mm-hmm. There's different levels. There's different captaincy figures in terms of what they bring. If Cody was the encourager and the motivator as a captain, probably limited performance wise, but gave it his all, and that had shined through. Whereas Neves might have been quieter, but he let his football do the talking and would carry a team. And that used to remind me a little like when David Beckham was captain of the England team, that he was never the most vocal, but if it came to him, he'd carry the team that way. So I'm in agreement that Kilman's lost even between those two real profiles of captain, that he's neither, that he's not the most vocal, nor can he grab the game by the scruff of his neck and dominate, because you can't really as a centre back. You have to be faultless, and if he does an error and his confidence gets low and his heads drop, and then as the captain that permeates the team at the same time. So probably having I still come to the fact that I want someone in the middle of the park, ideally in midfield, that can look around, see the whole game. And even with Kilman, has got more experience, that he's 26 or whatever. He's been in the Premier League a few seasons now, but he's had the rags to riches story, but he's not got that command of experience and everything that brings, that others can look to and be motivated by. So that's another downer when it comes to him with the armband for me.
So Andrew, you're talking about the lineup, and I feel like most of us though were excited about the lineup for the fact that it's obvious we needed somebody that could score. They brought in Kilman or Silva in place of Sarabia. I mean, if you were manager, then what would have been the lineup you came out with, knowing that while we looked good against Manchester United, we still couldn't score?
Mm-hmm. So for me personally, I think Sasha is a tall, lanky beanpole. Neto seems to be coming in stride. His fitness level is good.
We're
crossing the
have
ball.
another discussion about Neto on that. But continue.
But he's crossing is good, and also I think Bueno should start because he's got a great left foot too. So those two on either side. You've got a very tall striker, and we're not using him. He hasn't been used. Was he used in the game against? He was used in Manchester United, right? We didn't get the penalty, and he was not used in the last game. So I don't know. I think Fabio and Sasha will give it a go. Try it for 60 minutes or so. Get those balls whipped into the box and give it a go. And let's see what happens against Everton. I think that's going to be crucial and key for us to score early. I think as the game goes on, who knows what could happen.
It looked to me that Fabio and Cunha are too similar, whereas
yes, I agree.
They seemed to be hoping that Fabio would take that number 9 role, hold the ball up a little, up against the big defensive unit with Lewis Dunk. There was a couple of times where it came into him at close quarters and his control wasn't up to it and it turned possession over. Now, is Sasha going to do a better job than that? Hopefully, given that's more of his natural game. Is his fitness there to start? I highly doubt it. Is he going to have to build up 20, 30, 40 minutes at a time first? It looks like that's going to be the case, not to even get a look in when you're 3 or 4-0 down. I think that was quite telling as far as he is, but I think looking for Fabio to be that main man, again, cobwebs may need brushing off with him to a certain extent, that he had a disjointed pre-season with the Portuguese under-21s as well, so maybe that factors into it, but I'd prefer a more genuine focal point to the attack rather than those two players that prefer dropping deep and picking it up and making the runs from deeper.
Jeff, what do you think? What do you think the lineup should have been?
I have to say, when you look at the previous week, Cunha more than earned his role to be there up front. And if he had played anything like the previous week, we may have had some different results. And there was a day and night with Cunha between the previous game and this game. I wouldn't say he was dreadful, but he was forgettable. In the previous week, he was remarkable. And that was a big change. I was really excited to see, hoping to see maybe if him and Fabio could link up, but I am seeing what you guys are saying, that I think that they are just too similar, and just try to get that chemistry there. But I mean, as well as Cunha played, there's no way he wouldn't have started him this week. But I don't think he's a guarantee for this next match, at least on starting. I think he'll play, but he may not start. I don't know. He's going to try something different. I do think that Hugo Bueno, great going forward, but he's a liability. I think more of a liability on defense, which was the thing we were struggling with. So that's why I could see maybe Ryan Aitnuri was more of an answer for this match. I had no qualms with the starting lineup. I was actually quite excited about it based on how we played the last time. And I want to see, the only way we're going to get Fabio to get the cobwebs off is if he gets in place. And he wasn't in championship last year. He was, even though the performance isn't at the same level as Premier League, but he was playing European competition last year. So not only was he playing in Belgium, was he playing in the Netherlands, but he was playing in Europe. And so he had a chance. It was actually probably a brilliant loan spell. But now it's time to really cash that in and bring that into a consistent player. He's still not there yet, but I think there's a possibility he is. But we're still a few players short. No matter how well we played, and we played rather well at Man United, we are 1 or 2 injuries away from disaster. And now you've got, so that's always going to be hanging over us. Is we've got good players, and I think so far I've been generally pleased with what O'Neill is seemed to be doing with the hand dealt to him, knowing he's been dealt a shorthand.
Yeah, Andrew, don't you think you're being a little too rough on O'Neill, considering he's only had 2 games?
Yes, I mean, probably so. I mean,
Probably so.
yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation that he's in.
Yeah.
Any manager that can come in and turn the club around to make us a mid-ish table club is going to be challenging for anyone. I just think I still want to know what went on behind the scenes with Julian Lopetegui. What happened? Why did the club not be honest about the FFP rules? Why we were not upfront about we can't spend money? If we do lose O'Neill, regardless of what happens, the outcome, who's going to want to come to the club? It's this identity thing again. We've lost this mojo of identity. It seems that everything has just whooshed out the club, the enthusiasm, the possibility of us winning every game. I mean, under Nuno, everyone did not want to come to the Molineux and play Wolves. Didn't matter who you were, Spurs, Arsenal, City, no one wanted to come. They could see us play this great football, fast, can them on the counter attack, and score goals. Now it's like, hey, we just get 1 goal, we can beat the Wolves. I can't figure it out. I mean, 2 or 3 managers in, and we're still struggling to put the ball in the back of the net. Why? It's frustrating, very frustrating.
I think the problem is higher up. I mean, it's got to be the top brass, and they've lost the dream. And I was kind of hoping that Guao was there and watching and seeing what Jeff did with his investment. And that seems to be, I mean, if there's one finger to point at, and I think talking with other Wolf supporters there in Wolverhampton, that is a major point that I think most people are looking at is, what is our front office doing? Why? I mean, do they know what they're doing? And they've lost confidence in them, and that trickles down. So you make the point. Do you want to come and play for Wolves? It's hard to get someone to sign, but if there's the feeling that the club's not going to back the manager, and that the club isn't going to invest in it, and the club doesn't know what it's doing, it's really hard to get someone to come in especially on the wages that we're willing to offer.
If I may just interject, Jeff, that's a great point. I think Mendes took advantage of Wolves because we really didn't initially understand the process. Jeff was new, Jeff Shee, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the lack of knowledge, he took advantage of us. And we're in this predicament now where we are.
Yeah, he did some amazing things for us, Neves in particular.
Jota.
But at the same point, it got to be the point of it just got more and more lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are kind of over that right now.
Alex, this is where I feel like the disconnect between soccer and American sports is with the Premier League, because in no way would a general manager be allowed to hire this many head coaches without being axed. And that's what Jeff Shee has essentially been given. I mean, what? He's on his 4th coach? Nuno, Lage, Lopetegui,
Well,
Davis,
before that, yeah.
Before
that. What's the guy from Italy?
Zenga.
Zenga, yeah.
Jacket, Zenga, Lambert, Nuno.
Yeah, no.
Large, Lopetegui, 6.
Can you imagine that with an NFL team if the general manager went through 6 head coaches and still had his job?
I can't, but I also, I get your comparison, but most of the general managers in if we're doing American football, are football guys. Like they're also evaluators. Some of them used to be scouts. Like she is not. Like I don't know what he does. Like I truly don't. Like the fact that he only spoke to Gary O'Neill through email until presumably they met Saturday, which I can't imagine what that meeting was like if it wasn't before the game.
Wow.
Oh, nice to meet you. He just lost 4-1. Like if he's not involved in that, then what is he doing? You know?
Yeah, he gave himself a £400,000 pay rise. Not bad. Yeah.
Is he married to Guao's cousin or something? I don't know. That's the only thing I can think is he's somehow related to someone.
Yeah, maybe. But weirdly, his lack of involvement makes me feel better about certain things. Like I like the O'Neill hire because he never spoke to him. So like it makes me think that maybe O'Neill is good, you know? Yeah. Anyway, I can't imagine a GM in the NFL who is never spoken to in person, let alone like on a FaceTime call, their coach that they're hiring. That's insane.
Paul, are you a Lord of the Rings guy, Paul?
I've seen the movies a long time ago, but I couldn't go into the X's and O's of Middle Earth, I'm afraid.
Is any of you guys big Lord of the Rings? Okay, Wolfman Jeff. The Riders of Rohan is what Danny's displaying right there. So I almost feel like Jeff Shee is like worm tongue talking in Gal's ear, you know, convincing him, no, everything's fine. Give me a raise. Let me do my esports. You think that's good, Jeff, to call him worm tongue now?
I don't know. It's I don't think he's quite as competent. I think he's more of that character they created in The Hobbit, the sniveling guy over at Lake Town. So at least even though it was for evil, at least Wormtongue had some skills. But the other guy, Alfred, I think they called him, over in Lake Town, he's more like that. It's when I lived in Dallas, we had two different owners who were acting like general managers and trying to control every aspect of their team. One,
Mark Cuban and Jerry Jones.
Well, actually, before Mark Cuban, Jerry Jones came in and ticked everybody off by getting rid of Landry. And you talk about someone who would go through 6 coaches, it would be Jerry Jones, and it wouldn't be because of performance, it's because he got ticked off. The other guy was before Mark Cuban. And I'm sure most people in Dallas have purposely tried to forget Don Carter. Nice guy. I don't know how he made his money, but what he did with the Mavericks, that's how they got to be the Mavericks. And he kept, and it was like the Bidwells of my Cardinals. They're just trying to always get their hands on things, and they had no idea what they're doing. And the thing is I think she was okay when he had staff that could fill in operations. And we still, they've cut so many people. I guess they've been right-sizing things, but they've just made so many cuts to where people who know what they're doing aren't there making those decisions. And that's it's hurt us for several seasons.
Paul, do you think a 4-1 loss in front of the chairman means anything to Fosun?
I think no, and that's the sad reflection that it may just wash over their head a little, in that there is that disconnect between the conglomerate and the ownership and the day-to-day on the football side. I'm fine with that structure, to a large extent, if you've got the best people in the best role to make it work, and I don't think we necessarily have.
Paul, let's go back to that second yellow that Matthias got, and now he's going to be out the next game because he decided to push somebody when you're down 4-1. I mean, I get it. He's upset because, there was some time wasting, but come on, man. Wrong place, wrong time.
Certainly, he's definitely got that. Unfortunately, he seems to have that in his makeup, that he's got a little petulant side. And if you're channeling your energy in all the right places, and you play with that type of attitude, it can do well. But when you're at that stage of the game on a booking, what was he ever thinking that it would accomplish? And it's the type of stuff that when it keeps repeating, it's a little like the theatrics from Podence, that it starts to turn people off. And you've got to have something to your game in order to justify a momentary lapse and, you know, just frustration boiled over and whatever. But when it's consistent, when you see a pattern possibly emerging, that's when you look and think that it's not a good sign.
Andrew, do you think Matthias's absence is going to promote a change in formation with just Lamina and Gomez serving as the midfielders? What do you think?
I don't think it'll change too much, but I think it's definitely going to hurt us. So my sister's boyfriend was at the game, just at the Brighton game, and he said Lamina was just standing around with about 22, 23 minutes to go, not running, not pacing, whether he was just completely pooped out for the game. There's a lot of rumors he might be going to Liverpool. That's another expenditure there. Can we lose another player? Don't think so. No, we can't. If that happens, just hypothetically, then Bosun has no interest in the club. They're just putting money back in to their other businesses. So I'm a little bit concerned about Saturday, but not much I can do or you can do. It's got to be up to the players and the coach to motivate everyone to put that ball in the back of the net and get one more goal than the other guy. That's all you can do.
Wolfman, how do you think they'll react without Nunes?
Yeah, there's no direct replacement. He's a unique player. He's a very creative player. I know Sarabia can play both front or middle. He seems to be the most logical to me that they would slot him back, but still play more advancing. The other thought is if they just go ahead and go with three in the back, and kind of how we ended there. But considering we're going against Everton, that doesn't seem necessary. I think that may have been a better way to start this past game because Brighton's much more of a threat. So yeah, I see Sarabia maybe playing in the middle. Actually, there's a few others that can play in the midfield that also play advanced, but he's the one that makes the most sense to me off the top of my head. But it's still, we're just going to miss a lot of that creativity.
What are your thoughts on Neto? He's been getting a ton of action so far. And I mean, I don't know. People gave Adama crap for not being able to, make the right pass. But God, Neto is just playing hero ball out there, it feels like.
It goes from one extreme to the other in the space of a week, in that Monday night's performance looked back to his best at times, and you really started to see that he could craft a role on the right hand side, even being predominantly left-footed. And when they have the highlights stitched together of just his touches and his skills, there was a nice show reel from Monday. Now compare that to Saturday, when it was a lot of running down blind alleys, a lot of getting into promising positions, not having the confidence on his weaker foot, stop, check back, impacts the delivery. Then everyone's a yard behind or a yard in front based on that movement. It was a very difficult watch at some point, and it said to me that we've probably not overloaded on the left, but certainly him and Wang can play that same role. We're probably short on the right in terms of who, again, formation wise, and getting a clear identity of the team and how they're going to line up. Are we actually short of a genuine right-sided midfielder. Now, I'd love it for it to be Sarabia, but I don't think he's necessarily got the pace or the close control to really beat a man and craft opportunities from that position. I think he's certainly more of a forward type midfielder. So with Nunes being out, I think it's going to be a struggle on that right hand side, given Neto's failings on Saturday.
Danny, we were having the conversation during the game, and you had a comment on Neto.
Oh yeah, I mean it's an epidemic on our team. But Neto is one of the worst now that Raul's gone, in that he refuses to use his weak foot. I mean, he will do every kind of gymnastic possible to avoid using his right foot, which has always been the weakness of putting him on the right. I assume that there must be something that he provides us being out there, because at least two managers have thought that that's the best place for him. But it is incredibly frustrating to see him beat someone completely, because he now seems to have that pace back again, but then always have to cut it back to cross it with his left, and usually lets the defense get a little bit more set. And that's kind of a problem across our whole team, not just people avoiding using their weak foot, but taking that extra time to get a cross in or to get a shot off that allows the defense or the goalkeeper to get set.
Wolfman, I know you're a Neto guy. What do you do with him at this point? How do you coach him up?
Well, first of all, it's good to be having him somewhat back, but he's not 100% back. But he did show against Man United. He's got some of his fitness back, but he's got to focus on setting other people up. I like the idea of maybe moving him to the left and have, say, Hwang on the right. Just kind of mix that around. I think he's off, but he's not way off. And so I'm really glad he's back. But yeah, it's pretty frustrating when he's playing, because there's something, it's like he's almost there and he's just right off. So if he's just out of position, I think let's see how that is and mix that around and see if we can get him on the other side. But he's still, to be honest, this is his day job. He gets paid millions of dollars. He needs to work on both feet.
Yeah. And not playing hero ball. I mean, that's straight up basketball when the guy's like not looking to pass at all. And it's like, what are you doing? Just
Yeah, that is very frustrating. It's like there's not a chance for it, and you overkick it, and you could have just, I don't know why it's so frustrating. It's like it's just, you wasted the opportunity that you had to create something, and then you just, it's like that episode of The Office where Kevin just brings in the chili and it just falls all over.
It's the cloves that do it. So here's something that could be a what if, Paul. You look at Brighton, they're going to Europe this year, and they just sold and made £110 million profit. So they're going to be able to reload into the squad. Do you think Wolves would have been better cashing out on somebody like Neves when his value was higher than what they just got this season? And would that have kept Wolves at the top this late?
It's a really good point. I think they probably got Neves' value probably at its highest, and very luckily, but only thanks to the Saudi money. It just shows that hindsight's a wonderful thing, but there is a strategy when it comes to acquisition and transfers and striking when the opportunity is hot. I don't think it was Neves that should have been sold, but now it certainly looks like it should have been that pre-injury role, and certainly that hot vein of form of Traore when he was being talked of with those goals against Man City in that season. So those were for me when probably Raul could have commanded probably a 40 million pound fee at that time for a 28, 29-year-old possibly going to Man United. Traore could have probably got 50-ish if he'd have maintained those standards. So that's the fine margins. It's not necessarily always picking up those bargains that no one's heard of and turning those rough diamonds into polished jewels. It's back to that point about Mendes that we've only had the worst of his effects, because apart from Jota, and again I'm taking Neves out of this, there hasn't really been any of his conveyor belt of players that have come in for investment and then doubled or tripled, and then we've reaped the benefit of it that way as well. So there's two sides to every coin with this discussion about acquisition and departures, and we're still not doing a good job of selling players when the time's right to get the maximum return.
Andrew, I saw you turn off. What do you have to say to that? I saw you turn off the mute. He's ready to go on that one.
No, I agree with Paul. You know, I think Matinho was a great steal. We did well there. He was a great buy, and that was Menendez, right? So, I think we didn't sell. I don't know, how much did we sell Matinho for? Did we make any money on him? He went to Porto. No,
his contract finished. So,
okay, so he just went for what? But I don't know. I guess my biggest concern, are we bringing anyone in on loan before the window shuts? We can't buy anyone, don't have the money, and we pick up their wages. Is anyone coming in at all to help reinforce the squad? Because we're very thin, we're very short. 1 or 2 injuries, it's going to be a very, very long season, and a very frustrating one. I don't want to see us in the bottom 5 again, but I'm afraid I think that's where we're going to be, fighting to keep above that relegation line, unfortunately.
It's just like it's a meh and a lethargy about it all. You're not even excited about any type of speculation running up to the end of the transfer window in 10 days, just because the narrative that we've been told is there's no money, there won't be signings, maybe a loan or 2, but it's tricky to get excited about that. And I think to all of those points in general, Andrew, that's where the perception that you're sleepwalking into relegation comes from, because if everyone's got that attitude of well we can't really do anything, who knows if we're going to get a player in, that's not the type of attitude that's going to springboard you forward. And if you're not investing, if you're not developing a team, you're only going backwards. And from where we finished last season, it's you're looking over the parapet from if we're talking about going backwards.
So we have for several seasons now have run such a thin side. It's when you see a company run its margins that narrow, and when you get hit, you don't have any room to work. I think that's maybe one of the reasons we're in such a mess right now. Why haven't we been able to sell some of our better players a little earlier when they're worth more? Because we didn't have other players to slot in. And why are we in the situation now where we can't sell more players? Because we're out of players we could sell because we didn't have many players in. And when we were doing well, when we decided for some reason we are going to cut the corners as close as possible. And now when you had major world issues, obviously with COVID, but China itself was hit. And there is a lack of interest in football all of a sudden out of China. A few years ago, when they bought Fosun, they were gung ho, and now they're not interested. So so we didn't invest then, and then they complain there's no money because you didn't invest to make money, and that's really has hurt us. So again, every year we talk about how small of a side we are, and that I think is a major reason why we're totally burned. And we did make some really bad signings.
Yeah. So about 7 or 8 years ago, there were 11 clubs owned by Chinese companies, some type. Now, less than 3. That's it. That's it. We're one. I forget who the other 2 are, but not in the Premiership. I think they're all Championship and lower.
I mean, I think they just kind of have seen it's very hard to compete against Saudi money.
Saudi money,
yeah.
I think it's a different kettle of fish, right? It is a very unique it's a business that if you don't know what you're doing, it will snap you in half real quick. And I think Jeff Shee, I think this will be his final year. Whether we stay up or whether we go down. But I think if we go down, I think Fosun will take a loss and sell us, potentially. A lot of people say, well, why not sell now or, get more money for the club? I think they've broken even. I think Mr. Gao, whatever his name was, took $100 million certified check in his little pocket there and got on that plane back to China and said, I'm so happy. I got £100 million in my pocket and let's deposit this check and spend it elsewhere instead of back into the club. It's going to take a while for Mr. O'Neill to get the team motivated. I think if we can get a draw or a victory on Saturday, I think that will help. If we lose, I think there's going to be a lot of pundits ready to put someone on the guillotine. That's me.
Yeah, you definitely don't want Andrew on the show next week if we lose.
Not good. Not good.
I think I'm going to block him on my texts.
No, don't do that.
If we lose.
I'll send you the little French guillotine thing.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's hard. The Chinese thought they were going to come in and be able, we're, big superpower, we can do this. But when Saudi money is paying Neymar $500,000 per Instagram post where he mentions something positive about the country, there's not much you can do. Can you just imagine that if China told told Fabio, hey, $500K if you talk good about us? What? It just blows my mind.
Well, I think there's a big loophole right now that they're trying to close about how the Saudi clubs have figured out a loophole of you can steal a player at any time you wish, and you can bring them into the Saudi league and then potentially loan them back out. And the rumors were Newcastle with Neves,
right.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's dirty stuff, but it's gonna have to be cleaned up quick for sure.
So, guys, we still have the obvious problem of we're very cursed and cannot score goals. I mean, when we're celebrating, when the crowd's cheering, we got a goal, when we're down 4-1. How do we do this? We need to put our heads together here and think of ways we can break this scoreless drought curse. Uh-oh. Jeff's already got one. Let's hear it.
The origins of the curse was with a man called Leo Bonatini. And he came in, and in the first few months he was here, he was utterly amazing. It's like he couldn't miss. And a couple of months, he was just banging it. And then the new year came in, and he couldn't get anything. And he's always been stuck. I think he upset some witch or something. And they put a curse upon us, and now it's hit the entire club. So I don't know. We need to get Leo back and make an apology, do a macrame or some kind of craft or something to go ahead and appeal to her and to lift this curse because it hurts.
Paul, what are some Wolverhampton like urban legends with with witches or witchcraft or anything?
I'd say on Wolfman Jeff's theme, it's probably the rumors of Leo Bonatini's nightly activities around the establishment of
Ooh.
Wolverhampton and the ladies or witches that you may find. So can we just say that everyone has to take like a vow of celibacy or something and just like
We're trying to
nothing.
bring people in, Paul, not make no
Yeah.
signings on a side.
Well, we want to keep Fabio. The goal is not to lose Fabio.
Yeah, but can't we channel all of that energy in the right place? So is it getting spent elsewhere? That's my biggest worry.
Oh,
Alex,
man.
did you think of anything that can help break this curse?
See, I didn't go as far back. Like I think Jeff has got the genesis of this nailed on. I was just going back to COVID times, and the first thing that popped into my mind was like this image of like a bubbling cauldron and David Luiz walking up and dropping some of his curly locks in there. Like, maybe we need to schedule a friendly against Flamengo and do like a public shaving of David Luiz's head and try to reconcile.
By João Gomez.
Yeah, by João Gomez. Or by Raul himself. I don't care. He could walk in his Fulham kit even. We just have to, kind of like reconcile with that moment that changed the course of Wolves strikers for the next 4 years.
What is it with the Chicago Cubs and the
Billy Goat.
The sheep, the Billy Goat? Maybe we got that. So I just got a text message.
I hope it doesn't
saying,
last 110 years.
No. So I thought Nottingham Forest was over the FFP, or something was going on with them financially. They have just signed Gonzalo Montiel from Sevilla for £9 million plus. Just announced a few.
Oh, that's breaking news, Alex. But we need to know what can break the curse, Andrew. Fuck Nottingham Forest.
Go for it. Just hit it. I watched Al Nouri this against Brighton. Missed that opener. Flipped to the right, flipped to the left, put it on the good foot. Just poke it. Just hit it. If the keeper's going to push it out, it's going to go somewhere. It has to go. It's going to go back in that 6 to 10 yard area. And then somebody just take a swipe and see what happens. Similar to what happened when who's our defensive guy? Sorry, I'm having a brain fart here. The old guy got from West Ham, and the ball came to him and he just struck it and he went straight in the top. Dawson, thank you. And just looking at that, it's have a go in the box. Just hit it. We're too afraid. We get this deer in a headlight look of, oh, I'm too close to the goal. Let me get fancy with it. Let me pass it off. Let me flip it back. Let me do a back heel. Forget PS4 and PS5. That crap doesn't work. Just hit it. Go for it. See what happens. Goalkeeper, defender pushes it off. That ball's going to deflect somewhere. If it clears out, great. If it doesn't, have another go. Keep at it. That's the problem. We just lack that confidence of shooting. Period.
Danny, do you have anything that could break the curse?
All right, so Podent's not coming back into Andrew's team. Got it. No more back heels. I noted, by the way, that he did not play for the 21s today. So I don't know if that's
after
positive
his
news
shade
or
of
not.
an Instagram post.
Yeah, I don't have any advice for the current team on how to break a curse. I don't know where the origin of the curse is. It seemed to happen during lockdown that suddenly meant that we could no longer score goals to save our lives. But maybe just like last year, a game at Goodison is what we need to turn things around. But I do agree with Andrew that I'd like to see people trying to shoot or at least cross a bit earlier, again, before the defense is set, before the goalkeeper is set. And I do think if you watch any of the games that Fabio had out on loan, I know he came on as a sub a lot, so it's very different, but he was just getting fed a lot more, and he's willing to take an early shot. And so it's funny that after this past game, people were, posting that still image of him with the ball just before his shot that got blocked on that breakaway. First of all, Steele's positioning is really good. So I want to take a little bit away from that. But also, like, I'd be more upset with that if that were one of 10 chances that he missed. But I think he might have had another shot after that. I mean, it was like he's still operating on scraps. And if we can just feed him, just put him through on goal a few times a game, I do still feel confident that he'll score from like 1 in like 4 or 5 chances. So give him those 4 or 5 chances.
I'm hoping at Goodison Park, one of those black cats come in and just interrupt the game and put us on top. That's what I'm banking on right there.
So, guys, I've been doing research, and here's what I think we need to do. So there is easy ways, very documented, about you can remove curses using salt and lemons. Now, to do this, because of all the Portuguese players still with the team, there's still that influence, we have to get sea salt from the Mediterranean Sea. So if we can get that, we cut a lemon in half, put the sea salt on, and then have the players wipe their arms, wipe their faces, wipe their legs and their feet and everything, and then burn the lemons. Burn them. And then the curse will be broken. This is my research on the internet, and if it's on the internet, it has to be true, right, Danny? New social media guy?
Yeah, obviously. That's rule number 1 of the internet.
Rule number 1. If it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
As a social media guy.
Now, Paul, are you willing on Friday night to take salt and a lemon and scrub your body if that cures Wolves scoring droughts?
I'd need a lot of lemon and salt, I think. So can I just do my feet? Because they're pretty big.
You can do your feet. That's fine.
Okay, yeah. I'll do my feet in order for the goals to be scored from.
I mean, you can do up to your knees, and it's taller than most people. So, Andrew, are you willing to do the salt and the lemon?
I'll do whatever it takes. They say it's a great scrub for the skin. Look 10 years younger. I'll do it. The heck,
Wolfman.
It sounds like you're prepping someone for margaritas, and then it gets really dark. Really quick. And so, especially if you have any cuts, if you have any cuts in your body, and then you put lemon and salt on it. But you know what? If that lifts that curse, it would be totally worth it.
Alex, I know Alex will do it. He'll do anything.
Yeah, Alex will do it.
To see these goals start going in, of course, yeah. So salt bath is like, people pay good money to be rubbed down in salts. Right. Like, it help my team. Yeah.
So to our loyal listeners, this is the first project that we're going to throw at Danny. I want you to take photos on Friday night of you taking salt on a lemon and wiping your skin, wiping those legs, wiping those shins, wiping those feet, and send it to Danny so he can retweet those on the Twitter account. Sound good, Danny?
Sounds great. I'm on it.
Give a thumbs up. So let's do it. It takes the whole pack. Right, guys? It's not just one. It takes the whole pack. If we're really true fans and we can make a difference, by God, we need to do it. So lemons and salt. Let's do this.
Enjoying a whole lot of Wolves? Whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening, don't forget to rate and review the show so that we can make sure to continue to grow the pack. Thanks for listening, and up the mighty Wolves.
All right, Wolves playing Everton on Saturday for the bottom of the table. It will be on Saturday at 10 Eastern time. That's for you, Alex and Danny. 9 a.m. Central for me and Paul and everybody else. And we're here with Sam Huston from the DU Football Show. How's it going, Sam?
Is it too early in the season to start drinking?
Oh no. I'm drinking whiskey, so yeah.
I got
Alex was drinking a nice white wine tonight.
I was, yeah. Second week in a row, I went for the wine.
No.
Gotta get the summer bod going before.
Well,
my
if they
trip.
lose 4-1 again, I'm blaming you.
Hey, at least you scored a fucking goal. Let's look at the positives. For those of you not familiar with the DU Football Show, we drink during our show, and we just got finished recording. It is famously known that I am absolute trash, and I drink Ice House. That is right.
Ice House, okay.
Beer choice, and then we're drinking a little single barrel light whiskey from Rye 3, which was based out of Virginia Beach. They bought it from MGP. Essentially, it's 14-year-old Seagrams is what it is. And it's very lovely. And I've been enjoying it thoroughly. And it's the only thing that's going to help me from not fucking crying right now, because my team's real bad. And here we are, the third week of the season, talking about a massive fucking 6-pointer between our clubs in the relegation battle.
Oh, at least I can say this about your club. Your club is going, yeah, we're up against FFP, but fuck it, we're still gonna spend money.
Yeah, well, it was only one charge that we got found for, and the thing that helps us versus other clubs is while we got hit with that, we were already working with the league. So if people are thinking like, oh, they're gonna get deducted 9 points, just stop thinking about that. We've been working hand in hand with the league since the was it the 2016-17 season, or as I like to call it, the year of the number 10, where we decided to buy like every fucking number 10. We brought back Rooney and Gilby Sigurdsson and Sandro and Danny Klassen. There was just a ton. All we did was buy number 10s, and then we were horrible, which has been kind of a regular recurring thing right now with our club. It's funny, though, I look at both of our teams, and I even said this on my show, we both just had the first week we were probably the better sides and probably deserved to win, right? We both got hard done by a goalkeeping challenge. Yours was right at the end of the game, but we had ours too, where somehow they decided to call a foul on Tarkovsky, who was literally just standing there as Leno went over top of him with the ball and then bounced it off of his chest, and somehow that was a foul, and then in your instance where, the keeper murders one of your players and it's not a foul. And then this week, hey, good news, everybody. They made up the call. Just happened to be against for us, which had nothing to do with your club or their club. But, they're improving, quote unquote. You've only had this giant fucking eye in the sky to let us know what's going on, that tells us when things are wrong, It leads me to the thought that I've been saying for a while now. VAR sees what it wants to see, not what it needs to see. And it's silly. And then frankly, both of us this past week, we both sucked. Like, it was really bad. Both of us gave shit performances. So really good, really bad. Now we play each other and we're at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, it was less than ideal for sure, especially to start off the weekend. But I will say, last year's game, that was a turning point for us. Nice little late magic from Aitnery. A whole lot's changed since then. Third game in. Can we read anything to this about the trajectory? I mean, we're talking 6 points. Is it really life and death 6 points for our two squads?
I don't say it's not, especially because both of us very desperately need points in this match. I know it's early in the season, and I know we both look at our rosters and go, there's talent there. There's a good enough team there, right? The problem is I think we all kind of feel very reserved to say comfortably that Sheffield and Luton are not going to be at the races this year. Burnley ain't fucking bad. And then you kind of look at everything else and you go, okay, well, we've got our problems. You guys have your problems. Are we allowed to bring up Lopetegui's name now? Is it okay to talk about? I know it was
not according to Alex.
Tough night for Danny when he was doing our show. It was a tough night, and he had to listen to 2.5 hours of everybody rambling just to be go, well, your coach is gone. Then you look at that, and then you say, okay, well, is Fulham going to have a sophomore slump? Are they maybe a little too old? Palace is going to be really resolute defensively, but they can't score goals. Forest should probably be fine, but they're only really good at home and not good on the road. And you just kind of start to look at the rest of the table. But the problem is we're in that group, both of us. So this game fucking means something. Unfortunately, it just at least just to jumpstart one of our teams, right? And hell, jumpstart both of our teams. If it's a draw, both of us take a lot away from that. It's. But yeah, it means that much this early. It really does.
Sam, how short do you think that Dyche's leash is when it comes to that transfer window closing after that? Has he got a certain amount of games, or is he got some flexibility and some freedom?
I think he's got through the January transfer window. I mean, unless this team hasn't won a game by then, which, I mean, we can't score, so that's a possibility. And I look at how we handled Lampard. We should have fired him before the World Cup. And then we don't, and we bring him back, and we play that gutsy draw against City. And then, as you mentioned, that turnaround game for you guys in your season, as you brought on Lopetegui, and we lost the game. We should have won, but Frank was too busy trying to push the tempo up the field instead of just going, all right, this is a 1-1 draw. Let it be that. And we get caught on the counter and lose at the death. And that helped change your guys' season, and it put us in worse shape. And then we didn't fire Frank until 4 days left in the transfer window in January. Is there any reason to think that there's any confidence that we would let go of Dyche if he was doing a really bad job? I'd say no. We're in such a place of limbo, waiting to find out if MSP is going to be investing into the club. I know they've already invested into the stadium. Bill Kenwright's still the chairman, even though it's been said that he won't be. We were told when MSP said they were going to come in and be a part of this. This was the start of the summer. We were told in 2 weeks that there would be a change at the chairman. We're now almost done with the summer. He's still the fucking chairman. Can we afford to pay another coach? We're still paying Rafa. We're still paying Frank. Because that all goes into financial fair play, what kind of money you have in the coffers. And it's just at least in your case, there was a mutual agreement. There was a payout. So at least Lopetegui's gone, and he's gone. We had guys who we fired, and we still got to pay. And it's just, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So I would say Dyche has a long leash, to be quite honest, Paul. I think he has a very, very long leash.
Interesting. So in terms of your lineup, what new arrivals are kind of guys that our listeners should be paying attention to?
Danjuma, it would probably be the biggest one, as he was supposed to come to Everton last January, ended up pulling an about face and going to Tottenham, where he promptly didn't play at all. But a lot of that came down to the fact that he was ready to come to the club. Frank was our manager. We then fired Frank. We hadn't hired Sean Dyche yet, and he's sitting there going, you want me to come on a loan move when I don't even know who the hell the manager is? And that's why he ended up changing and going to Spurs. He had an impact in the Villa game. He was probably the lone bright spot in that match. Very good news for us. It looks like Calvert-Lewin, there was no breakage of the cheekbone. It's just a bruise. So he should be able to play, and will be wearing everybody's favorite face mask bit doing that. But also, when you just came back from injury and you take a shoulder to face collision, you can't tell me for a second you're not thinking about that when the next 50-50 ball comes up. So that has me a little bit concerned. Outside of that, Ashley Young is starting simply because we don't have any competent defense right now. Myalenko's not seeing the field, even though he's recovered from an injury. He's not seeing the right side of the field. He could come, the left side, he could come in on the left, and maybe Ashley Young goes over to the right because Nathan Patterson has just been getting blown up so far in the first 2 weeks of the season. It's odd. But other than that, Harrison really isn't healthy yet. He's still recovering from a hip injury. The young striker that we got, Josef Cromartie from Sporting Club Portugal, he is very young, very talented, but it's that kind of player you don't expect to see. Like, he's probably going to play the cup game this week against Doncaster in all likelihood. Not someone that's really going to take the field. And we're still waiting to see if there's a few more loans that come in. There's talk of Che Adams, and there's talk of William Nato, even though I don't like the fact that now Nato is apparently worth $25 million when he was bought for $5 at Leeds. And he clearly doesn't want to be there. So if we buy him at 25, I'm going to be banging my head against the wall because maybe worth 15 at the most. So, but that's really about it. Most of the team is going to be players you saw us play against you last year.
And wrapping up, Sam, we probably touched on it earlier at a few points, but do we just both take a point from this and be happy?
Well, I'm going to stick with the exact same thing that I've stuck with every time I've been on this show and I've talked about it. We play incredibly shitty matches against each other. The black fucking cat is the highlight of us playing against each other since you guys have come back up to the Prem. Like, that was the only game where you really housed us. And other than that, it's been, we win 2-1, you win 2-1, nothing really exciting, very drab affairs. This feels like a draw to me because I think neither team wants to lose a point, but I could also see a 2-1 in either favor. Like, all things being even, give it to the home building. I'll say Goodison, Everton 2-1, but I'm leaning way more towards a 1-1. And I think the minute both teams realize there's a point on the board, they won't fucking care. They'll just get a point, call it a day, get out, worry about next week. Because our next week after that is Sheffield. So we get a point against you, we get 3 against Sheffield, boom. Who cares about the first 2 games of the season? We're on and moving, So I really just seen this being a very cautious, cagey, boring draw. Nobody wants to fuck up. That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is.
I like that. The nobody wants to fuck up game. I can go with that.
The don't fuck up derby.
DFU Derby. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice
Sam.
one, Sam. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Yeah.
My pleasure, boys. As always.
Cheers.
Great coming on the show. And you want to listen to 2 guys get drunk on whiskey and say fuck a lot and kind of talk about the EPL. That would be our show, DU Football Show, wherever you get your pods. And same thing on all the socials as well. And as always, boys, thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys. Andrew said it. I think we all feel the way. Definitely got to get 1 point. Ideally, got to get 3 points. Paul, what do Wolves need to do with no Matthias to get 3 points?
They need to score, I think, because I don't trust them to keep a clean sheet after Saturday. So there we are in the age-old problem. I think we probably need to score first as well, because I'm worried about that lack of identity, that when we used to concede, we never felt really out of a game, and that seems like a long distance memory now. So I think we've got to be, we've just got to be tighter, and we've got to hope that, personally, I think I'm kind of more relieved that we're away from home to a certain extent. So we know we're going to have to be more defensive anyway. I'm hoping there's going to be more parallels to Old Trafford at the start of the season. And I'm hoping the talent that we have got can pick up and make the most of some of those opportunities on the break.
Andrew, I almost feel like playing on the road could be good as well because Everton's fans may be ready to turn on them.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree with you. I think if we go a little once we get through midfield, we go out wide, we can get those crosses in. I'd like to see Bueno on the left, perhaps Wang on the right. I'd like to see Sasha have a go for at least 60 minutes to start and just test it. Just go for it. Keep plugging away and hopefully something will connect. That's what I'm saying. But I do agree with you, Josh. I think if Everton loses, I think Pickford will lose. I think Pickford's going to lose his spot in England as goalkeeper anyway, regardless of this outcome. Yeah, I think Pope will be the number one anyway at this point.
Wolfman, what do you think is going to be the key?
Yeah, I think scoring early. I like the lineup that Andrew had mentioned there. We gave Fabio the start. Let's see how Sasha does. And maybe because he's not the same as Fabio, let's see how they match up. I like Hwang starting on the other side there. Honestly, I think Hwang's our best bet to get a goal early. How do I word this? He seems to be the one most capable of getting a goal by himself. And so I think, yeah, I think he can, if we can score in the first half, I think we're going to be fine.
So let's hear some lineups. Paul, what's your starting 11?
I think goalkeeper picks itself. I think the defense still does. I can see the call for bringing Breno in. I actually thought Nouri had a pretty good game on Saturday, and he's been one of the, I wouldn't say surprise, but for him to take the jersey at the start of the season and be the consecutive starter, I think that's something to build on. I'm not one for changing the formation at this stage, mainly because we haven't got the depth really if they do and something goes wrong. So that scares me. I'd probably be a little ruthless and drop Neto and start Wang. I'd like to see Sarabia come in on that right hand side. I'm not sure whether it's going to work. If that does, just give Gomez and Lamina that defensive midfield job. That's all they do. You got to keep going with Cunha, I think, and I'd probably like to see Sasa start if he's able to.
Andrew, you kind of alluded, but what's your 11?
I'd like to see Schmeichel start as goalkeeper. Yeah, I think Saar doesn't command the box. I don't think
Danny just shakes his head and won't even look at the screen now.
I know. I think Saar doesn't command the box. I think he's lost a little bit of confidence. But I think changing keepers at this point is probably not good. I would change, respect to what Paul said, I would change El Nouri, put Bueno in. I'd leave the back four the same, or whatever you do, 3 or 4. I'd leave midfield the same. Of course, Nunez is missing, but you need to tweak a few things there. Wang on the right, Sasha up front, and let's see what happens. Just go for it. You got nothing to lose. It's better to lose 3 or 4-0 again.
Except hundreds of $1 million by being relegated, but
true.
That's near.
We have to get something out of the Everton game. Mm-hmm. Because now we're starting to get into that really danger zone of, here we go again, 15 games and only 10 points with Lodge, under that same situation. We need to change.
But Lodge did not lose when he had a striker, right, Alex?
That's very true.
Absolutely right. Lost with this team, top of the league.
Yeah, he has 3 strikers. He'd be like, yeah, leading the league in scoring. Wolfman, what's your starting 11?
I'm pretty similar to you guys. I do like having Bueno in left back or wing back. I do like Sarabia in, and I like Huang in as our wingers. So I don't know who's going to be playing as an attacking midfield in there, but we have Cunha, and I do like Sasha. So I'm not sure if Boubacar is ready. Maybe he could bring a little spark into the midfield, because we haven't had a Traore so far this year.
R.I.P. my baby oil prince.
Yes. We went from baby oil to salt and lemon. Oh, we have fallen. It's like Lamentations or something.
Look, man, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. All right, guys. So we're going to make our predictions. And Paul, we have the prediction league up and running on our website, wholelotofwolves.com. Currently, Alex has gotten points from every game. Unlike Wolves, he is sitting on 4 points so far. Good job,
Wow.
Alex.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see. After that, it is a lot of 1-pointers. Chris Fisher has 1. Danny, you have a point. Andy Barlow has a point. Dan Wilkes has a point. Michael Moser, Steve Young, and I also have a point. The only 2 people that are without points thus far are Todd DeWitt and, of course, our own resident non-sharp, that is Mr. Paul LePage. Paul, come on, start us off. Give us something good here.
Goals. I'll give you goals.
Ooh.
I'll give you 2 of them, but then I'll also tell you that we'll concede 2 as well, and it'll be a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Going with that again. If at first it doesn't succeed, try again. Andrew, what's your prediction?
2-0 for Wolves. I'm going
2-0.
for it.
See, this is why I love Andrew. He spends the whole hour shitting on Wolves, shitting on the coach, shitting on the team. But by God, when it comes to predictions, he's like, we're going to win. Of course, duh. You did that with the Liverpool Man City back-to-back. You're like, I think they're going to win both of them. I love you, Andrew.
2-0. Mark my words.
Oh, God. Mark his words.
Okay,
Wolfman, what do you got?
All right, there. I'm going to go for 1-0 Wolves, and I'm banking on our performance being more like Man United, and I'm also banking on Everton being Everton. So that's why I'm going for 1-0. I'm gonna say Huang.
Ooh, Huang. All right, Danny, what you got?
Yeah, I don't know if this is me just trying to protect my own emotions on Saturday, but I'm also going to go with a draw like Paul. I'll say 1-1, but the bright side of it will be that Fabio scores.
Okay. Alex, Mr. Leader.
I am in agreement with Wolfman Jeff. I think it will be a way too close 1-0 is what I'm going for. Less convincing than United, perhaps, but yeah, I think they finally get 3 points.
You know, Alex, I think I need to go back to last year's strategy where I don't pick Wolves to score more than 1 goal. And in this case, I'm going to say they score no goals, but they're going to allow no goals as well. So we're going to say a super exciting 0-0 draw between 2 teams. Yep. Everybody, and our weekend's ruined again. Well, at least we'll get a point. So, get ready for those social media posts. Whoa, point's a point. I'm the one I'll make those. That's fine. Okay. It's everybody's favorite time, Alex. No stupid questions.
Got a couple good ones this week. We will start with Brian Donnelly, friend and frequent guest of the show. Going back to Mateus Nunes's second yellow. What kangaroo court punishment would you hand out to Mateus to atone for his boneheaded red?
I'm going to let Wolfman start this off. I have a feeling he has some good ideas here.
You cover him with salt, and then you pour lemon all over him. And that also reduces the curse. So multitasking right there.
Paul, what do you got?
Back when I was playing, and you had these horrible weather, muddy pitches, worst thing you had to do was always after a game clean your boots. And it's totally different for like the carpet that those pros play on, and they probably haven't even got a touch of dirt on their cleats. But I would make him clean everyone's cleats.
Ooh, Andrew.
I'd make him go to Dudley's Zoo and clean out the elephant stalls.
Good God.
Shovel, shovel, shovel. That'll teach you. Hey,
Indeed.
he won't do it again.
Yeah, that's true. So I think mine, they'd make him do something no Wolves player or coach or chairman likes to do or wants to do. I'd make him hold a press conference and talk to the media of Wolverhampton. Just let them ask anything. You know.
Painful.
Since nobody else likes to talk, I'd make him talk. That's his punishment.
And then do the salt and lemon.
Yeah, then the salt and lemon right there.
Oh man. I you know what I like about this whole situation is that it could just be like some galaxy brain stuff from Mateus loving being in Wolverhampton and wanting to look so immature that all of these teams coming in at the last minute for him after he ran all over Man United all of a sudden feel like he's not mature enough to play for their club. And it's not a straight red. So he only misses one game, but then gets the rest of the season at Wolves. I'll take it.
So Mateus is playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. Gotcha.
Exactly. Because he wants to be here so bad. No. He also was just acting the way I would act in that environment. Like I think we were all kind of that frustrated at that point, but we don't get paid millions not to do that. Stu asks, have we ever had a kit more suited to a single player as the beachwear third shirt is to Totti Gomez? He was used a lot in the marketing for this, way more than he's used on the field. But he does look really damn good in it.
He's got a future in a modeling career based on that third kit.
Yeah, he's got some serious swag.
I feel like Toady could come out with like a pair of sunglasses right now to go with that third kit, and they would sell like hot cakes.
Yeah, I think the comparison is Raul in the Mexico kit. That was not even subtle at all, and it was fantastic. So, but yeah, it's I saw him in that one. I'd want to get the kit if I thought they could fit me, so it won't.
Yeah, Jeff, I know the feeling here because let me tell you what, I can, I'm a bigger guy. I can get 2X with anything out here. My wife ordered me some 2X stuff over for Christmas, and it was like I didn't fit in any of it. So now I got to go up a size, and I feel extra fat. It's just, I don't know. Come on, you UK people and your sizes.
Have we officially, is it actually the beachwear third shirt, or is that just Stu's interpretation of it? Because it's probably beach weather 10 days a year, maybe in the Midlands.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
I'd take that over the 108-degree heat that we have.
Oof.
Yeah.
I think it's for when they go to Marabella.
There you go.
Yeah. It suits the preseason well. So we'll see how often they wear it during the year.
By the way, this is the best year Wolves have had for kits since the Europe year when they had the gold, the black, and the Mexico kit. Like these 3 kits are stupendous. So hey, we got that going for us this year.
Love the blood red one.
Yeah, they're all 3 are great. All 3 are
the
fantastic.
blue is exceptional too, actually.
Yeah, the beachwear kit is really good. All right, King Wolf 84 asks, you've just saved a penalty in the World Cup final. What are you going to shout? This is in reference to the Women's World Cup final where England keeper Mary Earps saved a penalty against Spain in the second half when I believe they were down 1-0. So obviously kept them in it. They did end up losing. But what are you shouting? World Cup final, you make a save.
Oh, I am taunting the person who I just saved. I mean, I'm going pow right there.
You're going full like Emmy Martinez?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Okay. He was the best.
He's the worst. The guy was taunting Mbappe, who literally put 4 past him in the game, 2 penalties and 2 goals. Ridiculous. Well, anyone else? What do you typically shout in a moment of fury? Anybody got anything good, Jeff?
You shall not pass.
Yeah, there you go. I figured
keeping the Lord of the Rings theme. I love it.
Very nice. Okay,
Paul,
Michael Moser.
What would Paul say? Come on.
You can't let Jeff's just that dominates. That there's nothing else that could top that. So
would you like pretend you had a staff too, Wolfman, and slam it into the ground?
I may actually have a staff, so but they wouldn't let me on the pitch with it. So
would it be like a Raul when he had the mask hidden? You make a save, you run behind the goal, and come out with this staff. And
no. I would bring a Balrog. That's how far I would go for the shtick.
I would love to see the worldwide reaction to a goalkeeper pulling out a staff. It's
just hidden behind the goal the whole game. You have to get someone to concede a pen, or I guess you could, as long as you don't get carded, so you have the opportunity to save it. That's going to be the hard part.
Yeah,
is having the staff in every single match, and then like 12 matches from now, you get finally the penalty is awarded, or if you're Wolves,
and then it's in the opposite goal.
Yeah, you need 2 staffs at all times. All right, Michael Moser asks, who has a more toxic relationship, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, or Wolves fans and the club? We talked a little bit about the toxicity earlier.
Well, by the way, Wolves fans take a crap on Molyneux, like an actual poop. Because if not, it has to be Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Maybe we should be doing something with the ground.
But Amber and Johnny, that ended. There is no end for us, so it will continue on.
It's a toxic relationship for sure, but I don't know if it would go to court for taking a poop on the bed. Which reminds me, that whole thing reminded me of Dane Cook's sketch. Someone shit on the coats. Danny's laughing. He knows what I'm talking about, doesn't he? Oh. Dane Cook did one. If you want to be known at the party, be known as like, just go and take a shit on the coat. And so then they're like, oh my God, someone took a shit on the coats.
I just can't believe we're sitting here in the year 2023 and you're bringing up Dane Cook bits.
Yeah, that's good. I have never felt more culturally out of touch than when I was beginning to watch the first episode of the new Netflix doc about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. And my wife was like, this whole trial was on TikTok. Why is there a documentary about it? I've literally seen the entire thing from start to finish. I was like, it was what? Apparently this whole thing was like live streamed like the whole time. This is like the most useless documentary there possibly is. Anyway,
yeah, I was getting my updates on Johnny Depp and Amber Heard from my 14-year-old daughter. So there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I was getting no updates. So I thought this was going to be a good documentary.
Then that's your wife. Your wife failed you. So when you say, why are we watching this? It's because clearly you didn't fill me in on the important stuff, like taking a shit on the bed.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's key stuff right there. Anyway, thanks everybody who submitted their no stupid questions. Each week you can tweet them at us at WLW Pod is the show's Twitter handle. You can also email them to us, hello@wholelotofwolves.com. We also have Facebook. You can get us in any number of ways to send us your questions. We usually prompt you for them on Mondays. So thanks for chiming in. It helps lighten the mood a bit when things are as dark as they have been.
Yep. Then we can talk about shitting on coats and beachwear. It's great. Alex, how was Faux Sunday? Did it get a little awkward there?
It was great. There was a outstanding turnout there at 28 Liberty Street on Saturday morning. Food, plenty of beverages were flowing. It was really, really good. Until we had to watch a second half of Wolves versus Brighton, but the people spirits persevered, and there was still fun had, so much so that I have heard that there may be another big organized thing coming up soon. So stay tuned to this show, because obviously we would talk about all the meetups and all the different areas of the people involved, but also to NYC Wolves, on all the social channels. But it was really good. Although Andrew said something earlier that made me think about something really fast. We had the bathroom, you have to go underground because it's like we're outside, and then the bathroom that's open to the public is like inside of a movie theater that's like 2 floors down. So it takes a little. So everyone went at halftime. One guy waited till the end of halftime, and he left when it was 1. And I saw him coming back up the escalator, and then you could see, because the screen is massive, like it's like it's like a city block long. I see him look up as he's coming up the escalator, and I could see his face turn and just immediately be like, what in the hell happened? Like, it was 4-0. Like, he went to the toilet at 1-0 and he came back at 4-0, and oh man, I just really felt for him. He was also in from out of town too, so hopefully it didn't ruin his trip to New York, because he was over from England. So but it was pretty funny. Yeah.
Any upcoming plans, New York Wolves?
Yeah, well, McHale's every week. I think there'll be a good contingent there on Saturday for the Everton match at 10 a.m. So come on by. It's in Midtown, McHale's Irish Pub, and you'll find the guys there.
Wolfman, Andrew, what we got going with Atlanta Wolves?
So we've got the Fidos normal get together. So anyone that's in Atlanta, come down for those. However, though, I've had a special request to come to Limerick Junction, which is in Midtown Atlanta, to join the Everton weekend club.
Ooh, for this weekend, huh?
Yes. Yeah, and there's an awful lot more of them than there are of us. So we'll play that one by ear, but it's nice of them to offer, and we'll probably take them up on it.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, I actually might be in Atlanta on the 3rd, which is when we play Palace. It's a little early. You got to remember, it's the Fidos in Buckhead, because there's multiple ones in Atlanta. So it's the one in Buckhead, because
Buckhead,
we're
not Midtown.
Because we're trendy.
Yes, trendy.
Trendy. Is that what it is? Trendy.
Yes, trendy.
How can we find you guys online?
Just go to atlantawolves.com, or you can actually just go for those and link in through the pub. No problem at all.
As far as for social media, you can catch with me on Soccer and South on X. It used to be called Twitter, but I guess it's
Twitter to me.
It lost its bet. So, and then I'm usually still on Always Wolves with Dazzlin' Dave. So
that brings this week's show to an end. We're going to be back same time, same place next week for everything that goes down at Goodison Park. Then we start to look forward to League Cup kicking off when we host Blackpool next week, and then on to that Crystal Palace game, which will be Sunday, September the 3rd. So in the meantime, everyone, let's be brave and let's up the Mighty Wolves.